Hey, Bears fans, which rookie out of this year's draft class will have the biggest impact in 2020? Obviously, Cole Kmet, Jaylon Johnson, two names that come to mind being the second-round picks. But let me know, which rookie do you believe will have the most impact in 2020? Go ahead and comment those answers. And with that being said, let's start today's video. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Speaking of the draft, Mel Kiper Jr. has released his draft grades for all 32 NFL teams, including the Chicago Bears. He's given the Bears a C-plus grade overall. I gave it a B-, but Kiper pointed to a couple of things here. Did like the Cole Kmet pick, said he's the clear-cut best tight end in this year's class. Like the Jaylon Johnson pick as well, and why shouldn't he? One of the better corners this year, and he fell to pick number 50. Good value there, so I agree with Kiper on that point. Didn't like the picks on day three overall, which I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm a little higher on a couple of the players the Bears took on day three, but Kiper was not a fan, so that's kind of why he landed at a C-plus overall. When it comes to Cole Kmet, I think he's the most well-rounded tight end in this class. Good blocker, good receiver, three-down tight end. I think he can be a starter for a long time in this league. I compared him to a Kyle Rudolph type where he's not going to jump off the screen at you, but I think he can be a 10 or 12-year pro at the tight end position. Jaylon Johnson may have a higher upside, did have a shoulder concern in 2019, which is probably why he fell a little bit during the draft, but did not give up a lot of completions at Utah last year. Had a couple of picks, good playmaker. I think he can play nickel or outside corner. And I think he'll start in year one and be an immediate contributor. So Cole Kmet, Jaylon Johnson, a couple of players who Mel Kiper believes can be starters. I think they can too in year one, especially Jaylon Johnson. And the Bears, as you guys know, run a lot of two tight end sets. So I think Kmet will be a starter as well. So Mel Kiper's given the Bears draft a C+. What do you guys think? You think that's too high? You think that's too low? Again, I gave it a B-. So if you think it should be a higher, type L for too low. If you think it should be a lower, type H, that it's too high. I think it's a little bit higher, but C+ isn't far off. I thought the Bears should have gone offensive line earlier in the draft, and they didn't do so. So Kiper's giving it a C+. Let me know how you think about that down in the comments section. And while you're doing that, why don't you go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. We've been getting a lot of subs recently. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get some more. We're closing in on 7,000 subscribers. Less than 200 away. We've got the latest Bears rumors, news. I have my draft grades video up on the channel. I dive deeper into it on that video, so check that out. Did a mailbag the other day. You guys submitted a lot of questions. I'll do another one soon if you use hashtag Bears. We're doing those at least once a week. Like I said, we got the latest news, the latest rumors. So we're covering everything Chicago here on Chicago Bears Now, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All right, here's Mel Kiper on the two second-round picks, diving deeper here. Cole Kmet is the clear best tight end in this class, and he will help Foles or Trubisky in the passing game and has the potential to develop into a solid blocker. Jaylon Johnson had a chance to be picked at the end of round one, but a shoulder injury hampered his 2019 season and hurt his evaluation. Still, this could be two starters for Chicago. Totally agree. I like both of the Bears' second-round picks, but I landed at a B- overall. I thought Chicago was probably going to trade down from one of their second-round picks and get an offensive lineman on day two. They did not do that. Offensive line is and remains my biggest need for the Bears, but I like the Cole Kmet selection. I think he can be the starting tight end for the Bears for a long time. Now, I think Jimmy Graham, especially as a receiver, is still the top tight end in this on this roster, but the Bears run a lot of two tight end sets. Kmet is definitely a better blocker, and I think long-term he will be the tight end one for the Chicago Bears. I think him and Graham can actually be a sneaky 1-2 punch for the next year or two. Grading the Bears is tricky. They didn't have a first-round pick. They didn't have a third. They didn't have a fourth, so it's hard to bash them too much. But again, I landed at a B-, and I like the Darnell Mooney pick as well. He has some good speed, but Jaylon Johnson, obviously, I'm projecting him as the CB2 on this roster. I think he's got a chance to start right away. He'll obviously have to compete with Kevin Tolliver, Artie Burns, and a couple of these other guys, but I do think he will be a starter. And if you're taking a guy at pick 50 that could have gone in round one, he better be a starter. So I think that's what it'll be for Jaylon Johnson. Which was the better pick for the Bears in round two? Type K for Cole Kmet, type J for Jaylon Johnson. Think you can go either way here. I think Johnson feels a bigger need. The Bears needed that number 2 corner, so I'm typing my J. But if you type K, I certainly understand that. If you look at the NFC North as a whole from Mel Kiper, he gave the Vikings an A-. Good draft. Can't really argue with that. They got Justin Jefferson and Jeff Gladney in round one. Really, really good work there. Detroit, he gave them a B. I don't really understand that one personally. C+ for the Bears, and then the Packers a C as well. Tom Downey gave the Vikings an A. I gave the Bears a B-. Obviously, Tom gave the Lions a B- and the Packers a D. Way more objective on Green Bay. What did the Packers do to help Aaron Rodgers this year? Don't worry, I'll wait. They didn't do anything to help him this year. So for Kiper to give them a C is kind of a joke. Look, if Jordan Love pans out, that's one thing, but we won't know that for a very long time. Who do you guys think will win the NFC North in 2020? Bears, Packers, Vikings, Lions. Obviously, the Pack won it last year. The Vikings were a wild card team. I think the Packers draft this year doesn't help their cause to repeat. So I do think if the Bears get good quarterback play, they could have a chance to win it. I think it'll be a 3-team race with Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota. But be objective and cast your votes down below. While you're doing that, go to this link, chatsports.com/BearsT3, and take advantage of this t-shirt sale. It's 30% off, less than $20. You're not going to find this shirt for a better price than our partner Fanatics. It's chatsports.com/BearsT3. Get the Bears old school logo. Sometimes simplicity is the way to go, especially when it's on sale. I'll put that link in the comments. It'll be in the description. You can go ahead and shop today. All right, just to kind of recap the Bears selections, Kmet and Johnson, we've talked about them. Those are the 2 second-round picks. Have to jump all the way to round 5. Trevis Gipson, pick number 155. Kindle Vildor, the corner out of Georgia Southern. He went in round 5 as well. More on Trevis Gipson here. This is kind of one that puzzles me a bit. Not that he doesn't have ability or upside. It just wasn't a need. Like, I don't think edge was a need at all for the Bears. They took him with their first 5th-round pick. I didn't love this pick. He's productive. I think he can play a little bit. I think he'll rotate in and out. But with the Bears signing Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack already there, those guys are going to be playing most downs. I just don't get the Trevis Gipson pick personally in round 5. I do like the Darnell Mooney pick in round 5, the receiver out of Tulane. Very, very good speed, which is what this Bears offense is lacking at the wide receiver position. Then a couple of offensive linemen in round 7, Arlington Hambright, Lachavious Simmons. It's round 7 offensive linemen, guys. Who knows what those guys are going to bring to the table? Hopefully one of them can stick and make the roster. Here's Mel Kiper on the Bears' day 3 picks, saying Trevis Gipson is a part-time outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense, and the Bears reached way down the board at the end of day 3. So this is another case of 2 decent players by value on my board, but little else after that. Essentially, he's saying, I like the Kmet and Johnson picks, but nothing else. I disagree. I like the Darnell Mooney pick, but it's fair to wonder why Trevis Gipson was the Bears' first 5th-round pick when you look at the linebacker depth chart. You got Mack and Quinn on the outside. Maybe Gibson's your backup to Mack, but honestly, Vaughters has more experience. He may be the guy there. They brought back Devontae Bond. I am curious by Ladarius Mack, Khalil Mack's brother, who is a UDFA. We'll see if he gets into the mix, but it just wasn't a major need. I would have liked the Bears to go in a different direction with that pick. Kindle Vildor, the corner out of Georgia Southern, good playmaker. Obviously, small school conference there at Georgia Southern. A couple of picks, 6 pass breakups. We'll see how he can translate. I do think he's got a chance to be a nickel long-term. Buster Screen nearing the end of his contract. Maybe Vildor can develop into being that guy for the Bears. I think he'll be a special teams guy primarily in year 1. Who was your favorite Bears day 3 draft pick? For me, it was Darnell Mooney, sub 4.4 guy. I think he's got a chance to be very, very explosive in this offense, maybe add something to the return game as well. I think he'll compete for snaps at wide receiver. But go ahead and let me know what your favorite pick on day 3 was. So you look at the biggest needs now, post-draft. 2 of the top 3 offensive line, right? I still think this team needs a right guard. They need an interior offensive lineman to replace Kyle Long. That has not been addressed. Strong safety is another spot that wasn't addressed in the draft. You couldn't fill every need, so I'm not as upset with that one. Offensive tackle, still need some help there. Nose tackle, wide receiver, kind of some secondary areas there. I don't think those are major needs right now, especially for wide receiver, considering the Bears just signed Ted Ginn, 1-year deal, contract details unknown at this point. But look, Ted Ginn offers some speed. We'll see what he brings to wide receiver overall. That's why I think it's a secondary need, but maybe for this year overall, Chicago's in good shape there. Obviously, he spent the last 3 seasons with the New Orleans Saints. 30 grabs, over 400 yards, couple of touchdowns this year. I think he's more of a rotation guy at this point. So he's not, solving a need at wide receiver. But overall, I don't think the position is a major need. But back to the top needs, especially the offensive line as a whole, it's just not in good shape, guys. I mean, hopefully Juan Castillo, the new offensive line coach, can get better play out of these guys. But unless it takes a significant jump from last year, Nick Foles and Trubisky, whoever plays quarterback, better get the ball out of their hands quickly. And, hey, I'm just saying, Coward cannot be your right guard, especially with that last name. He's not very good. The name doesn't help the cause. The Bears got to upgrade at that position. So, again, just to kind of wrap things up here, Mel Kiper, C+ overall. I gave it a B-. Not going to argue too much. I do think the second-round picks will be day one impact players, which is good. But to be fair, there were some question marks on day 3.